you wish to pursue the matters raised in the two documents just introduced. If you agree with this conclusion, I see no cards.
We do have a card
We
from
do.
Argentina,
Argentina.
which is intended, I think, at this time.
Okay, okay, thank you. Argentina, please, you have the floor now.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thanks for your patience. Now, I do intend to take the floor. We agree with your summation, Mr. Chair, but if you allow me, there is a part of document J/4, which is proposed order of discussion for agenda item 7, and it contains a paragraph 8 that makes reference to the consideration documents 8/7/7 and 8/7/11. Mr. Chair, at least two delegations, Argentina and Chile, expressed their serious concern as to moving forward with document /11 because, at least in the point of view of Argentina, it encroaches upon the competence of the Antarctic Treaty. We do not object to special areas, but this particular document, we believe, with the reference to the Antarctic Treaty, is encroaching upon that competence. We are consultative parties to the Antarctic Treaty. We cannot accept to encroach upon that competence that we believe is the specialized one. So for paragraph 8, we believe that document 11 should be deleted. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, Argentina, thank you for that. But I would recommend, if you wish to make a statement to be considered in our report, and then we will see how to deal with this subject during the correspondence group. I think your proposal seems to be very interesting also. I would like also to recall that in the original proposal for this output that was approved by MEPC 71, it had not been foreseen that amendment to MAPOL Annex 4 would be necessary, and therefore a proposal to expand the scope of the output was submitted to MEPC 74 and approved. I advise that similarly, interested delegations who hold the view that the draft revised requirement for STPs need to be accompanied by additional requirement for community and disinfecting system due to the unforeseen consequence, or the requirement in MAPOL Annex 4 do not provide adequate protection for waters that consider the matter of this pandemic. Before moving on the next agenda item, I propose to extend the target completion year of output 1.26 to 2023 in order to complete this work. If you agree with this, we can move to the next agenda item.
We do have a number of delegations requesting the floor, Chair.
Okay, I am seeing now.
Thank you, Chair, and good day to all. Chair. Chair, we would like to thank the submitters to draw the attention of the committee on the subcommittee on the potential unintended consequences of the draft amendments to MARPOL Annex 4 proposed in document PPR 87, where the requirements for CDS remain unchanged because they were not included in the terms of reference of the correspondence group. Now, with the requirement unchanged, we share the concerns raised by the co-sponsors whereby CDS may become more widely used than they are today when CDS are not treating sewage like STP would. Now, Chair, we understand and we hear what you said about the terms of reference and the instructions from the committee. But here we sense that we are in a different situation where a proposed amendment may induce a behavior change. And we feel that because of this behavior change or the use of another technology, that should be taken into account by the terms of reference so that we don't waste time. Now, would that not be the case, we would suggest that this document be sent back to MEPC for further consideration. But we draw the attention of the delegations that because of those amendments and the fact that those amendments are not taking into account that, you know, the use of another technology could be favored, then it means that the correspondence group at least have a look to the problem. Would that be the case? That would require to amend the terms of reference, of course, that have been suggested in J4. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Vanuatu. We will consider this. I will now give the floor to the Netherlands. Okay, Netherlands, you have the floor now.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. Several delegations supported the possibility of virtual meetings. We missed this in your summarization. Could you say something about that?
Sorry, the Netherlands, could you repeat your question?
Well, I would like to say that several delegations supported the possibility of virtual meetings.
Idea is very good, but I don't know if I am in the position to answer this now. I will wait for more clarification, or if the Secretariat could help me to answer this question. Lucas is, yes, Lucas will take
to give you a much progress as possible. In virtual meetings, but only as that one of the main purposes of the correspondence group will be to collect the views of the participants. If everyone's happy with that, we can move on to my next intervention. With regard to the comment by Argentina about the order of discussion, the order of discussion in J4 was published to facilitate the discussion at this session, but at this agenda item, but because of the delays, the chair, when he opened this agenda item, said that he would receive comments on all documents. But the order of discussion shouldn't be confused with the terms of reference, which are on a previous page of J4 for the correspondence group. Now, in J4, the terms of reference do not include document PPR 8711. And taking into account that the chair proposed that PPR 8711 is out of scope for this output, it seems that it won't be taken forward, and therefore that may allay your concerns about any clash with the Antarctic Treaty. And also with regard to the comment by Vanuatu, I think I could offer some assistance, Chair, in that our analysis when we were advising you was that both 877 and 8711 were out of scope. The recommendation was for interested member delegations to send the document, to propose an expansion if they so wished at the committee. However, if delegations feel strongly about this issue, then one way to deal with it would be to request the correspondence group to consider document PPR 877 and advise the subcommittee on how best to proceed on this matter. My only concern about this approach is that if the correspondence group and PPR 9 still are of the view that it's out of scope, then we've lost a year on this issue. But if member states submit proposals for an expansion to MEPC 77, let's say, then PPR 9 will have the blessing of the committee to proceed with this work. So that's me, and I'm closing there. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucas. And now I still have 3 cards: Argentina, UK, and Sweden. Please, Argentina, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll be very brief. Thank you to the Secretariat for the clarification regarding document 11. We're fine with that. With regard to virtual meetings, Mr. Chair, we also agree with what the Secretariat has presented as a complement. We would just suggest, if possible, if the some phrase referring to in accordance with the relevant rules or guidance approved by the Council could be introduced, because sometimes when we are in subcommittees, we forget that we have a Council that decides, and we tend to try to innovate. And this complement, as very well put by the Secretariat, is something that will be adopted by the Council and took a long time to negotiate. So if that reference could be included in the summation, we would be very satisfied with the possibility of convening virtual meetings to complement correspondence. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Argentina. I will do so this way. Okay, thank you for that. Now we have the card of UK. Please, you have the floor. UK is still there? Oh, yes? Oh, good.
Thank you, Chair. I'm sorry to come in at this stage. I think it's a point of clarification at this point as to if 711, if that's going to be a proposal from the subcommittee to the parent committee for an extension to scope, or whether the report will reflect an invitation to interested member states and international organisations to submit a proposal for a extension to scope or a new output. So I just seek that clarification at this point before going further.
Yeah, I understood that we could have this proposal to MEPC to expand this output, and then I think the comments made by Lucas was clear enough in relation to your observation. I don't know if this explains what you wish.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Sorry. Just to add then, we did have an intervention on 711, which effectively highlighted the same points that yourself and the Secretariat have highlighted, and that it's out of scope. At this stage, we'd want further consideration regarding the detail of that proposal, as we are aware of things like Resolution A.98224, which also recognises that the organisation can approve discharge restrictions in particularly sensitive sea areas, So we're not sure at this stage whether that work should continue along the lines of the proposal in 8711. And accordingly, we would not want for the subcommittee to seek an extension to scope, and instead for interested member states and international organisations to seek that directly with the parent committee. Hopefully that makes sense. Thank you, Chair.
Sorry, Chair, you're muted. I think the
Yeah,
secretary.
no, I'm saying just thank you for the proposal, but Lucas wants the floor again. The Secretariat, please, Lucas.
Yes, so apologies, Chair, for coming back. With regard to the UK query, the normal practice that we tend to follow is that we don't invite, it's not invitation to the committee to expand the scope. There's a conclusion by the subcommittee that it's out of scope, and then we invite interested member states and international organizations to submit if they wish. We're not recommending that they do so. We're just inviting them to consider the conclusion, and if they wish, submit the proposal to the committee to expand the scope. It's then up to the committee to decide. I don't think at this session we have the luxury of time to come up with a recommendation. I would just suggest that that would be more appropriate if we had working groups and physical meetings. So it will be simply a conclusion that it's out of scope, and a statement that member states can submit an expansion request to expansion if they so wish. Thank you.
Now we have the card of Sweden and United Arab Emirates. Sweden, please, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will be brief. Sweden shares the concerns raised in PPR 877 regarding a possible increase in the use of CDS systems as a result of the work carried out on this output, as those systems do not treat sewage, only commute and disinfect the sewage. This is, in our view, an issue that the subcommittee should work on with the aim of banning these systems from being used. With that said, Mr. Chair, we are aware that such work is not within the existing scope of this output. But I would also like to say that we align ourselves with the comment made by Vanuatu. Thank you.
Thank you, Sweden. We will consider this in our terms of reference as well. We have United Arab Emirates, please. You have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and good day to everyone. The United Arab Emirates agree with your summation, Mr. Chair. However, there are some points that we'd like to raise. First of all, we fully agree with what have been said by Denmark and others to have the flexibility to convene the correspondence groups remotely if that is necessary. The other issue is with regard to 8711. We also agree with the Secretariat, as Mr. Lucas just mentioned now, that the subcommittee would have the conclusion, and they would invite interested member states to submit proposal on this issue. We also agree with what have been said by Vanuatu in relation to 877. And as the options were mentioned by the Secretariat, we prefer to have the document 877 to be considered by the correspondence group, and then the correspondence group would advise the subcommittee accordingly. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, United Arab Emirates. I think your proposal is can be accommodated. France, please, you have the floor now.
Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Chair. Very briefly, we also support the comments made by Vanuatu on this document, and we would like 877 comments and proposals.
card. Palau, please, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you to giving the floor. Very brief, I would like to support the intervention made by Vanuatu and also Sweden and United Arab Emirates, and we support also the way out suggested by Lucas regarding the 7. Thank you.
Thank you, Palau. Now I have the asking for the Secretariat to speak again. Please, Lucas, could you speak also? You have the floor.
You're muted, Lucas.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I just wanted to take the floor to ensure that we all have a common understanding of the terms of reference now with PPR 87. So I would draw your attention to document PPR 8J4, the terms of reference under section 2 on agenda item 7. The chapeau of the terms of reference would now include document PPR 87 PPR 8/7/7 in the list of documents in the chapeau. And what I would suggest is that a new item, sub-item after sub-item 0.5 is added and before item 0.6, which reads, further consider document PPR 8/7/7 and advise the subcommittee on how best to proceed. And then 0.6 will become 0.7 and 0.7 will become 0.8. And if that is agreeable, I will include it in the report, WP1, for everyone to have in front of them. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucas. We still have another card from United Arab Emirates. Please, United Arab, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. It's just, I fully agree what has been said by the Secretariat. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, I think we finished this agenda item, but we still have 10 minutes or a bit more to start the agenda item 8. I think we should do that, even if possible, to use 10 minutes more. Or